Environmentalist Atherton Mate says there are lessons to be learned from a major oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. Mr. Mate says the setting up of an oil refinery in Dominica could have serious implications for the country. He says Dominica is not in any position to deal with oil spills.
Well, the British Petroleum oil spill and the accident that occurred on the British Petroleum rig in the Gulf of Mexico and should send messages to us as we, unfortunate, have been mouthing interest in the possibility of an oil refinery here in Dominica. The implications and the lessons that can be drawn from that is, notwithstanding the enormous wealth, the enormous expertise, and the enormous technology that is available to the industry through a company like British Petroleum, BP. Accidents will happen. This is an accident of immense proportion, which it has taken several weeks to even maybe begin to get under control, and even that is not 100% sure yet. In the meantime, there has already been irreversible damage to some critical, coastal and marine ecosystems in the Gulf of Mexico, particularly along the coast of Louisiana. And so for Dominica, tiny little island with a minimal coastal area, which is used for tourism, used for recreation, used for fishing and food supply, we would in fact be running the risk of jeopardizing all these important economic activities if we, endeavored to play games with the possibility of an oil refinery here in Dominica, because there will be spills, there will be accidents.
According to Mate, Dominica should consider the importance in keeping the coastal and marine environment clean to continue to provide the country with the required services. He says the island should seriously consider its plans for an oil refinery.
The other important issue that we need to draw here is the importance of stewarding, monitoring, and taking good care to keep the coastal and marine environment of Dominica clean, and to keep it in a condition where it can continue to provide us with these services that I've mentioned in tourism, recreation, fishing, and so on. Because while oil is a dramatic threat to these environments, there are other ongoing, maybe less dramatic threats that we have to deal with. In our case, it would be sedimentation, that is runoff of soil, especially in the rains we're having now. We have enormous landslide possibilities and coastal pollution, destruction of reefs from that. We have nitrates and other chemicals from agriculture that are seeping into our coastal regions, causing havoc with the fish life. We also have the question of sewage, untreated sewage, emptying out into our coastal regions. All these are, just like the oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico, a source of serious threat and pollution and destruction to coastal and marine environment. How can we build an economy on the strength of those natural resources rather than engage in investments in the kinds of industries that are very likely to, as has been demonstrated in the Gulf, at some point or other, give rise to accidents, to spills, and to pollutants that would in fact destroy the vital, fundamental natural resource assets of our marine and coastal environment that give us so much and potential as well as real economic value already.
Environmentalist Atherton Mate. Plans are said to be in place to celebrate African Liberation Day on May 25. Ras Imani Shaw of the House of Nyabinge says this year's celebration is like no other.
This year, what would make it very encouraging is the fact that the government of the day has recognized this day on May 25th and have contributed towards making that day very meaningful. And this, we hope, can be an inspiration to our people, that government, now having recognized it, that we as a people can begin to look at it in very serious tones for what it really is. So this year, the House of Nyabinge, in conjunction, in collaboration with the Cultural Division, putting on this year's activities, which we hope can inspire us to greater heights. Most importantly, for us to just know and ask ourselves, where are we going? Because sometimes we find it difficult to even reflect on our past as a people. Sometimes we seem to be even ashamed of our past as a people. But we think that our past is what really is the springboard, for us to move on to the future. Because as is said, commonly said, a nation without a knowledge of its past history is like a tree without its roots. So this year we are really refocusing on where we're going as a people. And that is very important in today's world, because, right now, a number of problems affecting humanity. We see almost the decaying of society. And we call into question our leadership styles and our leadership patterns, or styles of leadership. And is it really contributing towards our own the progress and development? Or are we still engulfed by the legacies of slavery, for example, which has created a lot of distrust and disunity and disturbance among ourselves as a people, as black people generally.
Mr. Shaw says there is still a mentality of slavery plaguing our people.
So this year we come in real again, and we come in to establish that day within the minds and concept of our people and psychology of our people, so that we can determine our past. Because we think that Africans, and when we talk about Africans, we don't only refer to Africans, those at home, but also those scattered in this Western Hemisphere. And we think that we're still in some kind of mental and spiritual bondage. It's true the shackles will loose from our bodies, but we think that it has been placed very much on our minds. And we're in this bondage, if only because we always tend to look outside for our solutions to our problems and pattern ourselves on our side, and we have forgotten our culture, our identity, and our nationality as a people. So we always look outside for our solutions, and this, we think, is leading to more dependence rather than independence. We think that if we look at our history, we see that Africans have been geniuses in the past, and we can be genius again. And it's time that we can use our own initiatives, our intellectual capacity, our talents to achieve that kind of independence. And we want us to focus on these times of Africa and take out that mental and spiritual bondage which is affecting us.
Ras Aimani Shaw of the House of Nyabingi. Family life educator Valda Bruno Dura says there is a greater need for sex education measures in the schools system in Dominica. She told a recent roundtable discussion that there is need for intervention in schools as relates to sex education.
People are engaged in a number of unhealthy practices. Those of you who work on the ground, you will see it. You may hear about it. You may have children yourself and they come home and tell you about their friends, what their friends said, but they never tell you what they say. So we have to be mindful of those things. We have groups of young people who are either at risk or they're in vulnerable situations, or sometimes in both. And that is something that we have to be very mindful of, especially in our fight against HIV and AIDS. And again, we talk about the social and the economic factors and the influences of our young people. And demonstrates a need for sex education measures that goes beyond raising awareness, especially in our school system. We need to we need an intervention in our school system, especially as it relates to sexual and reproductive health. 2010, I go into a school to do a session and we do a condom demonstration, and an adult looks at me and says, "Boy, I would never be able to do that with those children." You understand? So and they're telling you the truth, And I know when you all the capacity building workshops, you all got a lot of that. Yeah. So there is a need. If it's one person you can find to go in all these schools, find that one person to go in the schools, because it's something that we need to do. It has to be done. Because let me tell you, when you talk to the young people, they know what's happening. So never mind you come in the class and you want to do a session with them on good communication skills, etiquette. Yeah, they know that already. You understand? So what they really want to talk about, when they do not have the avenue to express themselves, that's when it becomes a dangerous situation. Because who they may get the information from may give them the information that they think they want them to hear.